ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां
सदाशिवसमारम्भां
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
वन्दे
वन्दे
गुरुपरम्पराम्।
गुरुपरम्पराम्।
ॐ सहना
ॐ
भवतु
सहनाववतु
सहनौ पुनक्तु
सहनौ पुनक्तु
सह वीर्यं
सह वीर्यं
कर्वावहै
करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
विद्विषावहै।
विद्विषावहै।
ॐ
ॐ
शान्ति
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 शान्तिः.
शान्तिः।
So we were looking at the Brhd1 Upanishad, and the first chapter, second section, fifth mantra we were on. So we will just once more chant it. So please unmute yourselves. Sa ekshata yadiva imam
ऐक्षत यदि वा इमम्
abhimamsye kaniyaha
अभिमन्येकनीयः
annam karishye iti sattaya vacha
अन्नं करिष्य इति सत्तया वाचा
tena atmana idam sarvam asajat
तेन आत्मना इदं सर्वम् असृजत
yat idam kincharacha
यत् इदं ऋचः
yajumshi samani chandamsi
युजोंषि सामानि छन्दांसि
yajnan prajaha pashun sayatayat
यज्ञान् प्रजाः पशूंस यत् यत्
eva asrujat tat
एव असृजत
attuma aghriyata sarvam va attiti
अत्रुमध्रियत सर्वं वा अतीति
tat adite aditvam sarvasya etasya atta bhavati
तदितरेभिर्त्वं सर्वस्यैतस्य
तत्ता भवति
sarvam asya annam bhavati
सर्वम् अस्य अन्नं भवति
ye evam etat aditehe
एवम् एतद् अदितेः
aditatvam veda.
अदितं वेद
So we had got up to where we had seen the second title of Agni, that is Pratishtihi. Pratishtaha means based on substratum. Up is water, right? Okay. Now, what is the phalam? One who does this upasana on Agni will get pratishtha, security, established in life. And this Agni Virat upasana is the theme of this portion, and this will occur in the third mantra. Now, how do we see that Virat upon the Agni? These details are in the mantra, and I'll give the running meaning. As I said, we are not going into word by word meaning. The running meaning is that when you look at the fire, the eastern part of the fire is to be seen as the head of Virat. The western part is Pucham, the lower part of Virat. The northern and southern parts of the fire are to be seen as the sides of Virat. With this, the four main directions are over. Right, I'm just muting all of you. The four main directions are over. And then you have the subsidiary directions. That is also said. The north, east, and south portions of the fire of Agni are to be looked upon as the hands of Virat. The northwest and southwest portions of Agni are to be looked upon as the thighs. Then the upper portion, Prishtham, of Agni is to be seen as Swargaha, heaven. The chest portion is to be seen as Prithvi. The stomach is to be seen as the middle portion, and the lower part of Agni is the chest of Virat. Thus, if you see, the entire Agni is to be seen as the manifestation of Virat, which includes all the three lokas. So this is called the Agno Virat Upasana. And this Upasana is now concluded in the last two mantras of this section, the sixth and the seventh. So we will chant the sixth. Please unmute yourself. So kamayat
कामयत्
भूयसा यज्ञेन भूयः
भूयसा
भूयसा यज्ञेन
यज्ञेन
भूयः
यजेय इति स
यजेय इति स
सः
sorry, I read looking at the wrong one. So kamayat भूयसा यज्ञेन भूयो यज्ञेयेति
भूयसा यज्ञेन भूयो
यज्ञेन
यज्ञेति
भूयेति
तोषायमत
श्राम्यत्
स तपोतप्यत
तपोतप्यत
तस्य श्रान्तस्य तप्तस्य
तस्य शान्तस्य तप्तस्य
यशो वीर्यम् उदक्रामत्
यशो वीर्यम् उदक्रामत्
प्राणो वा यशवीर्यम्
प्राणो वै यशो वीर्यम्
तत्प्राणेषु उत्क्रान्तेषु
प्राणेषु
प्राणेषु
शरीरं श्वयितुम् अघ्रियत्
शरीरं श्वयितुम् अघ्रियत
तस्य शरीर एव मन आसीत्
तस्य शरीर एव मन आसीत्
So we will read the seventh mantra also. So kamayat
कामयत
मेध्यम में इदम स्यात्
मेध्यम् इदं स्यात्
आत्मन्व्यनेन स्यामिति
आत्मन्यनेन स्यामिति
तत अश्वसंभवत्
ततो अश्वसंभवत
यत् अश्वतत् मेध्यम्
यत् अश्वतन्मेध्यम्
अभूत् इति तत् एव अश्वमेधस्य
अभूदयति तद्वै अश्वमेधस्य
अश्वमेधत्वम्
अश्वमेधत्वम्
एषः वा अश्वमेधं वेद
वा अश्वमेधं वेद
यः एनम् एवं वेद
यः एनम् एवं वेद
तम् अनवरुध्य एव अम्यन्तः
अनवरुध्यैव वामन्यत
तं संवत्सरस्य परस्तात् आत्मनः आलभत्
तं संवत्सरस्य परस्तादात्मन
पशून् देवताभ्यः प्रत्यौहत्
पशून् देवताभ्यः प्रत्यौहत
तस्मत् सर्वदेवत्यं प्रोक्षितम्
तस्मात् सर्वदेवं प्रोक्षितम्
प्राजापत्यम् आलम्भन्ते
प्राजापत्यम् आलभन्ते
एषः वा अश्वमेधः
एषः वा अश्वमेधः
यः एषः तपति
यः एष तपति
तस्य संवत्सर आत्मा अयम् अग्निः
तस्य संवत्सर आत्मा अयम् अग्निर्
अग्निः अर्कः तस्य इमे लोकाः आत्मानः
तस्येमे लोका आत्मानः
अर्काश्वमेधौ
तावेकाश्वमेधौ
सः पुनः एका एव देवता भवति
स पुनः
पुनरेव
इव देवता
देवता भवति
मृत्युः एव अपपुनः मृत्युं जयति
मृत्यु एव
एव
अपपुनर्मृत्युं जयति
जयति
न एनं मृत्युः आप्नोति
न एनं मृत्युराप्नोति
आप्नोति
मृत्युः अस्य आत्मा भवति
मृत्युः अस्य
आत्मा भवति
एतासां देवतानाम् एकः भवति
एतासां
देवतानाम्
देवतानाम्
एका भवति
Okay, again we will not go through the individual words. So in this part, Shruti is describing or prescribing another upasana. And this upasana is a combination of the previous two upasanas we have seen. What are the previous two upasanas? Ashwa upasana
and
and Agni upasana. So this has been combined to give a samasya upasana, combined upasana. And Shankara points out that this combined upasana is the Angam, the main upasana, Angi, the main upasana, and the other two are Angams, the subsidiary upasanas only. And so this upasana can be called Ashva Arka Samasya Upasana. Arka means, of course, Agni, which we have seen. And here the mantra is pointing out that the very word Ashva is nothing but another name for Virat. So what is Ashva? It's a horse, right? So the word horse being used over here is another name for Virat. And also, whenever we say Ashva here in these portions, we are not referring to the horse. We are referring to Virat, the Samashti. Okay. Now the question is, how can Virat and Ashva be equated? How is a horse equivalent to Virat? What is Virat? What is Virat? Virat.
समष्टि स्थूल शरीर
Samashti Sthulam, right? Samashti Sthula Prapancha.
प्रपंच
Shariram of Vishwara, of course, but either way it's correct. Now, Shruti tells us a story over here, right? You must remember that the word Prajapati is nothing but Virat. Basically, it is Hiranyagarbha from whom Virat has been born. So, Prajapati is nothing but Virat. So, what is the story? Virat, that is Prajapati, was doing some yajna. Now, again, you have to remember that Prajapati is a role, okay? Is a role, and that therefore, once upon a time, the current Prajapati was once upon a time a human being who has done some yajnas and all that, and because of the punyam that has been generated during those yajnas, he has got this new role of Prajapati, of Virat. So that we know, right? All these devatas are nothing but roles. And exalted Manusyas, those who have done lot of punyam, they occupy these roles in some srishti or the other. So here, Prajapati was doing some yajna. And he kept on doing lots of yajnas. And the Shruti says, the story says that he got so tired that he died from the exhaustion. Died meaning what? The physical body died because of the exhaustion. And then Shruti says, on the death of the physical body, the Sukshma Shariram of Virat. What is the Sukshma Shariram of Virat?
हिरण्यगर्भ
Hiranyagarbha. Sukshma Shariram left the physical body, and because of the loss of the subtle body of the Sukshma Shariram, what happens when the subtle body leaves the physical body?
it travels
No. What happens to subtle body? To the physical body?
physical body it goes into the panchamaha
Panchamaha.
No, you have to think of the actual physical body. When the body dies, remember that it begins to bloat. I don't know if you have seen any body. Right? So it begins to bloat and begins to smell. So,
yes
so Shruti says here that because this Hiranyagarbha left the physical body Virat, the Virat's Sthula Shariram began to bloat. and became amedhyam. Amedhyam means that which is not fit to offer. So unholy. Right. And Virat was very unhappy because he did not have a physical body. And why was he unhappy? Because he needed the physical body to do yajnas, which means he was very attached to the idea of doing yajnas. And therefore, he re-entered his own body. Thus, the very same body which was now bloating became again Medhyam, again holy. And then Virat expanded. And not only that, his body became holy again. Right? Further, therefore, the Amedhya Shariram, the body which was not fit, unholy, had become Medhyam. So here in Sanskrit, the Virat Shariram is written as Ashwa cha Medhya cha. Ashwasya Medhyaha. Right? You have to remember that Ashwa is Virat. So Ashwasya Medhyaha, the Shariram has become Medhya. Then Ashwasya Medhya has got how we are deriving the what they call how the word Ashwamedha Yajna has been has been arrived at. Okay. So this body, Ashwa cha Medhya cha, Ashwasya Medhya. Ashwa is what? Ashwa is Virat. Medhya means holy or auspicious shariram fit to offer as an offering. So Ashwasya cha, Ashwa cha Medhya cha is Ashwa Medhya. And this Ashwamedhya somehow while being used in Sanskrit, it got corrupted to Ashwamedhya. Ashwamedha it has become. So therefore the Ashwamedha Yajna is the name given. Actually it is Ashwamedhya. How? It's a combination of Ashwa, that is Virat, and Medhya, that is that is holy. So Ashwa cha Medhya cha is Ashwamedhya. But during usage over the years, that Ashwamedhya got corrupted to Ashwamedha. And therefore you have a Ashwamedha ritual. And therefore, what is the meaning of Ashwamedhya? The holy, the Virat, like holy physical body of Virat. But Shruti somehow feels, that because of the nature of this Upasana, it is not easy for everybody. And also, really speaking, you cannot really, imagine Virat because it is Samashti. And because of this limitation, Virat symbolizes Ashwa as Virat. Ashwa has been symbolized as Virat. Right. So that is the reason why we are saying that Ashwa is Virat. Because you can visualize a horse, but to visualize the entire Samashti is difficult. And therefore, this Ashwa Agni Upasana is Virat Agni Upasana, also called Aditya Agni Upasana. So one is the Virat, one is this Aditya, the upper fire. Right? Why do you call it Aditya Agni Upasana? Because both the fires are represented. The upper fire, the fire in the heaven is Aditya. The fire in Prithvi is Agni. The one is the upper fire, one is the lower fire. And so Shankara gives different names. One is a Sadhya fire, one is a Sadhana fire. Sadhya Agni, Sadhana Agni. And Shruti says that this Upasana is nothing but the meditation on Agni alone. And Aditya, so Agni and Aditya are both expressions of Hiranyagarbha alone. So this is the Upasana. What is the Phalam? The Phalam is based on the type of Upasana. If you see the mantra, you will see a word called Mrityuhu, right? And this Mrityuhu is nothing but Hiranyagarbha. And therefore this Aditya Agni Upasana is supposed to be an expression of Hiranyagarbha, an expression of Mrityuhu. Therefore, what is the phalam therefore? The one who does this upasana is meditating on Mrityuhu. Therefore, he will get over Apamrityu Jayaha. The phalam is Apamrityu Jayaha. What is Apamrityu? Mrityu is death. What is Apamrityu?
After death.
No.
Before time.
Apamrityu is unnatural death. Right? So, what is the unnatural death? For us, it is very simple. All death is one. But where the death is natural, you die in your bed or you die on the battlefield. Your body is available for the uh, karmas to be performed, the post-death karmas to be performed. What's the unnatural death? Where your body is lost. So what happens because the body is lost? Your body is not available for the last rites to be performed. And therefore the phalam is apamrityu jayaha. A person who performs this particular upasana, he will die, his body will die of course, but his body will be available for the performance of the last rites. That is the, what we call, phalam of the upasana. And therefore, three upasanas we have seen. What is that? Ashwa upasana, Agni upasana, and Aditya Agni upasana. Okay. Now we have to go to the third section, which is called Udgita Brahmanam. What is Udgita? We have seen in Chandogya, if long ago.
Upasana.
Omkar.
Omkara. Okay. Right. So this is the Tritiya Brahmanam, the Udgita Brahmanam it is called. The one first section, Tritiya Brahmanam. It is the first chapter, Tritiya Brahmanam, 1-3. It's called the Udgita Brahmanam. Okay. And this topic in this section is Prana Upasana. And Prana means Hiranyagarbha, Samashti Prana, right? Not the individual Vyashti Prana. The Shruti talks about several gunas and vibhutis, glories of the Samashti Prana. Why? It's a encouragement for us to meditate upon Hiranyagarbha. So this meditating upon Hiranyagarbha with attributes. So you have to think of the attributes of Hiranyagarbha when you meditate. So it's called Guna Vishishta Prana Upasana. Prana means Hiranyagarbha. Guna Vishishta means endowed with attributes. Therefore, when you meditate upon Hiranyagarbha, you have to meditate on each attribute also. That sort of a meditation where you take a deity and then you meditate upon the attributes, that is called Guna Vishishta Upasana of that deity. And here it is Hiranyagarbha called Prana. Therefore, the meditation is called Guna Vishishta Prana Upasana. Okay. And in this introduction, there is in the introduction to this section, there is a very important bhasyam. Okay, again, I told you, we have lots of bhashyams, right? And bhashyams are one of the core parts of this Upanishad. You will get a lot of understanding of various aspects. We have done them all under various other Upanishads. And as I said in my beginning, the earliest introduction, this particular Upanishad, Brhd1, is almost a summary of all the Upanishads. So everything that we have seen there, we will see in this Upanishad, plus some extra things also, which we have not seen elsewhere. So, in the first section, we saw what? Sambandha Bhashyam, right? That we saw. In the second section, we saw another Bhashyam, very important one. What is it called?
Ghata Bhashyam.
Ghata Bhashyam. So in this third section, you are going to see another very important Bhashyam called Pramana Bhashyam. It's an inquiry on Veda Pramana. Again, I'll give you a very brief outline. So in Ghata Bhashyam, Sankara discussed two other philosophies, darshanas, Shanika Vijnanavadi and Tarkika, Nyaya philosophers, right? And that he refuted both of them. Now here, in this particular section, he takes up Purva Mimamsika. The Purva Mimamsika is a Astika, of course, but he believes in the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas only. And what is Purva Mimamsika's viewpoint? The first thing he says is that The entire Veda is meant only for prescribing karma. So this differs widely from our understanding. But this is the Purva Mimamsika view. Right? The entire Veda is meant to prescribe only karma, he says. And therefore for him, as you know that the Veda has, when you take the whole Veda, two parts are there, Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. In both parts, there are some teachings relating to karma, and there are some teachings which are not related to karma. Some are some ajnanam also, statements of facts. So this Mimamsika, he argues that the since the Veda is meant for karma alone, right? The important teachings of Veda are those which are concerned with karma. So Tatparyam of Veda, he says, is karma only. And therefore any teaching which directly instructs you to do some karma, that is the essential part of the Veda. And any portions which are not dealing with karma is apramanam, is invalid. Right? So he uses the word vidhi. Vidhi means instruction, command. So he says all those statements in the Vedas, all those Veda Vakyams, which are commands, do this, do that, thou shalt not do this, shall not do that, that is Pramanam. And whatever portions do not relate to the rituals, they are apramanam, they are not Pramanam at all. Right? For example, we have portions which relate to devatas. It tells you Indra is there, it tells you Swarga is there, all these things tells you, right? They are all unimportant and irrelevant, and he gives them a name which we have seen before. What is that name? Those statements, for us of course, the meaning is different, but the word we have seen before, Arthavadaha. Arthavadaha means those statements which are not Pramanam, which are not Tatparyam. Remember that when we talk about Arthavadaha, we talk about different set of statements. But he says any statement which is not directly instructing you to do some karma, that is Arthavadaha. And he says, for example, if it gives you a story about Indra, he says those devastas don't exist. Right? Mimamsaka's viewpoint is that when in a ritual you say Indraya Swaha, he says the phalam itself gives you the results. There is no Indra Devata required to give the phalam. So this is the main difference. We accept Ishvara as a karma phaladata. And Mimamsika says that there is no need for a karma phaladata. The karma itself gives the result. Right? We have seen a text in the past which talks about this kind of a person. What text is that? Small.
Charvakas.
Sorry?
Charvaka philosophy.
Yeah, but we have seen a little text. What is the name of the text?
Upadesh Saram.
Upadesha Saram. Pramana Maharishi. Right? He talks about this kind of a person. Right? Okay. So this person says that the Mimamsika says that there is no such devata, no such entity as Indra Devata. But when you chant the mantra Indraya Swaha, the mantra has the power to give the results. Therefore, Devata is not required. Right? So remember, what is this status of this Purva Mimamsika? He believes in the Veda because his mantra will give result. Right? Which means there's a belief in the Veda. But he says Devata is not there. So he believes in Shruti, but he does not believe in Ishvara. So is he Astika or is he Nastika?
Astika.
Astika.
Anybody?
He believes in Vedas.
Okay. We have another classification. When we talk about a person's, whether he's a believer or not, we take both these. Question number one, does he believe in the Veda? Question number two, does he believe in Ishvara? Right. So this Purva is called the Astika Nastika. Why? Because the first condition, belief in Veda, he fulfills. The second condition, belief in Ishvara, he does not fulfill. Therefore, astika nastika. While we are what?
Astika, astika.
We
We
are
are, we are astika astika. Right? So that remember. Okay. But of course, there is another classification which says that the primary criteria is belief in Veda. So if you say astika, that is also correct. But just for clarity, you should say astika and astika. Then only the clarity comes that he doesn't believe in Ishvara. So what is his contention? Karma alone produces karma phalams. Action produces result. Right? So when you keep water on the fire, the water will boil. When you let go of a stone from the balcony of your house, the stone falls. So he says all the natural laws of creation are there. Why do you need Bhagavan? Where is the need for Bhagavan? And if there is really no need for Bhagavan, but Veda talks about Ishvara also, then really speaking, that is Arthavada portion. It is not the Tatparyam. So Veda tells a story. And in this story, the Upanishad talks of the various attributes of Hiranyagarbha. Right? Now for this person, these are all Arthavada statements. Why? Because there is no Hiranyagarbha. They are not the Pramanam portions. And therefore, you should not take them as really having a Tatparyam. This is the, what do you call, broad outline of Purva Mimamsa Vada. Okay. Now, to establish this, the Purva Mimamsika gives an argument. He says Pramanam is that which by which Pramana is that by which is the source of knowledge. Pramana is really by that by which some knowledge is made available to you. Therefore, it's a source of knowledge or means of knowledge. And so when you say that Veda is Pramanam, then this Purva Mimamsika will say, when you say Veda is Pramanam, are you referring to the Padam or the Vakyam in the Veda? Okay, what is Padam? The word itself. What is Vakyam? The sentence. Okay, so he's asking you, when you say that Veda is Pramanam, are you saying that the words are the Pramanam or are you saying the sentences are the Pramanam? What is the answer? A word by itself can never be the source of knowledge. Only the syntactical composition of those words. You put the words in the proper order. And that's a sentence. Only the sentence can be the source of knowledge. Right? I hope you're understanding. Just words, random selection of words cannot give you knowledge. But you arrange those words in the proper order, it becomes a syntactical arrangement of the words and therefore becomes a source of knowledge. For example, I am talking to you. You can understand if the words are known to you. If I am speaking in Latin or Greek, you probably won't understand anything, right? Now, what he's asking is a very, very important point, very subtle point. When I talk to you in English, do you already know the words which I am using?
Yes.
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 If you don't already know those words, my sentences will make no sense to you, will not give you any knowledge at all. Correct? So you are seeing where I'm going. When I'm using a word, therefore, you already know the word. And therefore, I'm not giving you any new knowledge. Therefore, when I have used the words, you cannot say that you have got new knowledge. Right? And if you ask, how did you get the meaning of those words? Then it's a different question. Like if I am talking about, let us say, a glass. When I say glass, how did you know that the word glass which I am using is the same glass which you have in your mind?
We know it because we know it from
Pratyaksha Pramanam.
Huh.
Somewhere in your life, somebody has told you this is a glass. You connected the word and the knowledge through your eyes. Right? Therefore, you have learned the connection, the sambandha between the word glass and the object glass, which you saw through Pratyaksha. So once you have understood the word glass as that same object which you have seen by your eyes long ago when you were a child, now when I use the word glass, that knowledge is there. He means this particular glass. And therefore what is the derivation from all this discussion? When I use the word glass, I am not giving you any new knowledge. Is that not right?
Yes.
Right. Therefore, words cannot be Pramanam. What is the definition of Pramanam? That which gives you new knowledge. And since when I use words, you are already having the knowledge of what that word means. Therefore, when I use words, I am not giving you any new knowledge. Therefore, Padam, words are not Pramanam. You are seeing the argument?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sentence.
Now the question is, if words are not Pramanam, then how can you say that Veda is Pramanam?
The sentence,
The
the words used in the
Okay.
sentence.
What will the argument you give? You say, okay, fine, I agree with you that Vedic Padams, words are not Pramanam, but Vedic sentences are Pramanam. That is what we will say, right? Vedic Vakyam is Pramanam. Then he will say that, words are nothing. A sentence is nothing, but words put together. Right? And therefore, if the words themselves are not Pramanam, each word which I use is not a Pramanam, how can a combination of a Pramanam words become a Pramanam? That is a question that he will say. Right? So he will say sentence is nothing but words put together, arranged together to convey a meaning. Right? Therefore, through a sentence, what do you actually come to know? You come to know the relationships between various objects, which is indicated to you by the words. The objects are already known to you because they are words. But what is the new thing which you are knowing in a sentence?
their relation.
The relationship between the words. The sentence is indicating a relationship between the words. That was not known to you earlier. Only when the sentence is heard with words which you already know, then something new is given. That new knowledge is about the relationship. And this is technically called samsarga arthaha. Samsarga arthaha. Or in English it's called syntactical relationship. Let me give you one example. Let us say Rama is drinking coffee in a glass in the kitchen. Right? It's a sentence. Coffee, glass, kitchen, drinking, all this you know. Rama you know because your friend is there. So every individual word is known. Rama is drinking coffee in a glass in the kitchen. Right? Rama is the subject. If you look at the grammatical analysis, Rama is subject, coffee is the object, the instrument is the glass, the location is the kitchen. These are all the karikas, the vibhaktis. Right? So grammatically you will know that if you convert the sentence into Sanskrit, then one will be subject, prathama vibhakti, dvitiya vibhakti, tritiya vibhakti, everything will be there. And these are all called karikas, factors of action, factors of karma. Therefore, what you are learning is not a new word, but you are learning the relationship between the karikas. Right? And therefore, Vakyam is Pramanam because the Vakyam reveals this samsarga artha. artha, this syntactical relationship, the vakyam reveals. Okay. Then the Mimamsika argues that there must be a verb in the sentence to indicate what kind of action. So in the sentence that I just gave you, that drinking is there. Drinking is the action. Therefore, he says a vakyam is pramanam. All this is argument for what? For saying that only vakyam is which prescribe karma pramanams. Okay. Therefore, this is all the argument that I'm giving you that he uses. Therefore, he says while indicating a relationship, there is a verb. And the verb in this case is drinking. Therefore, for a vakyam to be pramanam, the vakyam requires the verb. And because it requires a verb is what? Verb connects to action. And therefore, action is the most important part of the Vedas. Therefore, action means karma. And therefore, karma is the tatparyam of the Veda. Therefore, Veda is karma pradhanam. I hope you got the argument so far. Right. Now, in this particular section, Shruti discusses prana upasana. Prana, of course, means Hiranyagarbha, Samashti prana. And as I said, it's a guna vishishta prana upasana. Hiranyagarbha is to be meditated upon with certain gunas. And there are many stories mentioned in this section to talk about the pranas gunas. What are the gunas? Now, Shankara says in his discussion, these gunas which are talked about in the stories in Shruti, are they taken to be as facts or are they taken to be as imagination for upasana purposes? Which means, should these gunas be taken as pramanam or should be taken as apramanam? Okay, all we are just leading up to the discussion only. And this discussion, of course, Shankara is having with the Purva Mimamsika. And three topics are discussed. The first topic is Arthavada. Right? So Shankara agrees, I'm giving only the total extract from his bhasyam, right? Shankara agrees that the words are not pramanam and vakyam alone is pramanam. Sentence alone is pramanam. This was the statement made by Purvamamsika, and Shankara says that is correct. I agree with you. That words alone cannot be pramanam. That syntactical relationship between words, which is called a sentence, has to be there for it to be a pramanam. Because it conveys a new meaning, the relationship between the words. Okay. Then Shankara also agrees with the second statement of the Mimamsika that a vakyam, a sentence, should have a verb. Because without a verb, a sentence cannot exist. Then what is the question? Shankara agreed with both those statements made by Purva Mimamsika. What is one? First statement is that words are not pramanam. The vakyam alone is pramanam. Sentence alone is pramanam. The second statement was that sentence should necessarily have a verb. Because without a verb, you cannot call it a sentence. Shankara agrees with that also. Then Shankara asks here, how do you say that all the verbs indicate action only? Can you think of a sentence where there is a verb, but it doesn't indicate action?
Rama is standing.
Rama is?
Standing.
Standing is action.
Rama is here.
Rama is fair. The sun is 93 million miles from the earth. It's a statement. It's got a verb. Is. Is there any action indicated?
What is the question?
No.
Right? So when you say sun is 93 million miles from the earth, there is a verb, is. But the verb is of a different type of verb. It only reveals a fact. It doesn't prescribe any karma. And therefore Shankara says that for a Vakyam to be Pramanam, he agrees that the verb is required. But he does not agree with the statement that verb necessarily means action. Verb can reveal a fact also. And then Shankara says that Vedavakyams can be without a karyam and without any vidhi or prescription of any action. And still the Vakyams can be Pramanam. And hence Arthavadas can also be Pramanam. Right. So this is the one of the main discussions that Vedavakyam necessarily has to have a verb because it's a Vakyam. But all verbs do not necessarily connect to action. Some can only be revealing facts.
Sir,
So
our
verb in
Mahavakyams
Sanskrit means
don't
Kriya
show.
Pada, right?
Sir.
Verb means Kriyapada.
Yeah. So all Kriya Padas do not necessarily have to
Reveal karma.
express any karma.
Correct. It can express
Okay,
facts also.
Yeah.
Sir,
okay.
our Mahavakyams are like that.
Mahavakyams are like that. Tattvamasi is you are that. Are is the
Ajnanam
verb.
Brahma.
Right. Okay. Now Shankara talks about this also we have seen before, okay, but I'm saying this. Shankara is in his discussion is saying that, so it's an important idea. Shankara says that therefore Arthavadas statements which are not statements of instruction for karma, Chodana Vakyam it's called, instructions, right? They can also be, Arthavadas are not that. They can also be Pramanams. And then he goes into a discussion of the types of Arthavadas. So this we have not seen anywhere else before, okay? So he says something called the first type is, he says there are three types of Arthavadas. The first type is Pramanantar Samvadaha. Right? Pramana Antara Samvadaha. Arthavada Vakyam should not reveal something which is already known to us by any other Pramana. But supposing it is already known, then from that Shruti Vakyam, we are not getting any new knowledge. And such a Vakyam is called Pramana Antara Samvadaha, means a knowledge which is already known through other methods. Right? So therefore, when an Arthavada Vakyam is repeating an already known fact, the repetition is called Anuvadaha. Vada is fact, a statement. Anuvada is repeating the statement. Therefore, the Arthavada statement repeating an already known fact is called Anuvadaha, and therefore it is Apramana. First statement. That is called Pramanantara Samvadaha. Then he says the second type of Arthavada is there, called Pramanantara Visamvadaha. Visamvadaha means, Visam is contradiction. Therefore, Arthavada should not Visamvadaha, contradict what is already known through any other Pramanam. So, when some statement contradicts a statement known through another Pramanam, it is called a Gunavada, exaggeration. And therefore, also it is a Pramanam. Right? So, you have a Anuvada, you have a Gunavada, and there's a third thing called a Bhutarthavadaha. So, Bhutarthavada is defined by a negative statement. A Arthavada which is neither Anuvada nor a Gunavada is a Bhutarthavadaha. So, all these three, Anuvada, Gunavada and Bhutarthavadaha, are sub-classifications of Arthavada. And he says, as I have just told you, Anuvada is a Pramanam because it reveals a knowledge already known through some other Pramana. Gunavada is a Pramanam because it is contradicting a knowledge already known through another Pramana. Therefore, the only Arthavada which is a valid Pramanam is what? Bhutharthavadaha. Right? Now, for example, you take the word that there is a statement in the Veda. Indra is Vajrahastaha. What is Vajrahastaha?
Thunderbolt arms.
No, he
Hasta.
holds a Vajra in his hastaha, in his hands. He has the Vajra in his hands.
Yeah.
Now, is this a Pramanam or not? Look at the statements. It doesn't fit under Gunavada or Anuvada. Correct? It is not known through any other pramanam and it doesn't contradict any other pramanam. So it is not Gunavada, not Anuvada. Therefore, it falls under Arthavada. Now, the point is that this statement that Indira is holding a Vajra in his hands, does it have any utility for you? It doesn't. And therefore, Shankara says you cannot say that the pramanatvam of a vakyam, the validity of a pramanam, depends upon its utility. Bhutarthavada it is, this one, because it's not falling under Anuvada and Gunavada. Therefore, it has to be taken as pramanam. And therefore, Shankara concludes the discussion by saying that Arthavada is pramanam if it is Bhutarthavadaha. And are we not to talk about utility at all? Do we say that we don't care about the utility? No. He says, Shankara says that if you want to understand whether the Arthavada has some utility, you have to connect it to the commandments, the Vidhi Vakyams. So, Bhutarthavada may be having absolutely no use by themselves, but they depend upon Vidhi Vakyams, commandment Vakyams in the Shruti for their validity. Therefore, these kind of Vadas, Arthavadas, are called Vidishesham. Vidishesham, Shesham is a part of. So, Vidishesham means a part of Vidhivakyam. And if you want to say that this kind of Arthavada is a Pramanam, you have to indicate which Vidhivakyam it is connected. Not for the Pramanam part of it. Because the Pramanam part is Bhutarthavada. Right? It's not Anuvada, it is not Gunavada, therefore it is Pramanam. But to see whether that Pramana Vakyam has got any utility, you have to connect it to the Vidhi Vakyam. I hope I'm making sense. Any question? Because they're very important ideas. Remember the discussion on Pramanams, that's why.
Sir, can you just give examples again once for all these three you said? So this Indra is Vajrahasta is a Bhutarthavada?
Yes, because it doesn't contradict a known Pramanam, therefore it is not a Gunavada. It doesn't
Okay.
contradict any other, it doesn't what they call give you any new knowledge. So it gives you new knowledge. It's not knowledge already known, therefore it is not Anuvada also. Anuvada and Gunavada are both not Pramanam. That which doesn't
Okay.
fall under Anuvada or Gunavada, that is Bhutarthavada. That definition is important. A Bhutarthavada is a Vada which is neither Anuvada nor Gunavada, both of which are not Pramanams.
Okay.
Okay. Then Shankara comes to Vedanta Vakyam. What about Upanishad Vakyam? Shankara says Vedanta is also Pramanam because it is Shruti Vakyam and it fulfills the two conditions for being Pramanam. What is that? It should not repeat what is already known. It should not contradict what is known. Therefore, it is neither a Anuvada nor a Gunavada. Anuvada is that which repeats which is already known. Gunavada is that which contradicts what is known. Since Shruti Vakyams are neither Anuvada nor Gunavada, they are basically Pramanams. Right? Why are we saying that? Because Purvamamsika says that Vedanta is not a Pramanam because it does not ask you to do any karma. For a Purvamamsika, only a Vakyam which asks you to do karma, instructs you to do karma is Pramanam. But Shankara says no. Vedanta Vakyam is Pramanam because even though in Vedanta Vakyam there is no karma at all, it is a statement of fact and therefore a Pramanam. Right? All these have a utility for you, but they are Pramanam. Like when you're traveling in a train, you may be seeing a buffalo, you may be seeing a cow, you may be seeing a tree. They have no utility to you because you're traveling in a train. But are they pramanam or not? Your eyes are definitely pramanam. So he gives an example. Vedanta says you are infinite. No, no. Is it anuvada? No other pramanam can tell you that you are infinite, that you are infinite. Therefore, it is not anuvada. Does it contradict anything which you know? Right? It doesn't. And therefore, it is pramanam. You cannot say it is anuvada because when the statement is not known through any other pramanam, where is the anuvada? Right? So these are Vedanta reveals to you what? Knowledge of Atma. Knowledge of Atma is not available through any other pramanam but Shruti. Because they are two different subjects. Therefore, where is the contradiction between your knowledge of Anatma, which you get through your eyes and worldly sciences, and the knowledge of Atma, which you get through Vedanta? Therefore, there is no contradiction between any knowledge you have and Vedanta. So, there is no repetition. Therefore, it is not Anuvada. Vedanta does not contradict also because the knowledge of Atma is only available through Vedanta. Vedanta does not give you knowledge of Anatma. And therefore Vedanta doesn't contradict Anatma at all. And therefore it is not Gunavada. And because of these two, Shankara gives a new argument. He says that you cannot even classify Vedanta under Bhutardhavada. Just because Gunavada and Anuvadas don't apply to Vedanta, you cannot say that is Bhutardhavada also. He gives an example. He says the statement that Indra carries a Vajra in his hand is Bhutarthavada because that knowledge is not useful to me by itself. Right? For it to have a utility, I have to connect it to some Vidhivakyam about, let us say, you know, a Vidhivakyam of Upasana on Indra, where I have to imagine the Vajra in his hand. Then that knowledge gets utility because you have to imagine the Vajra while you're doing the meditation. But in Vedanta Vakyam, the knowledge is not only Pramanam, but knowledge happens to be useful by itself also. And that is where it contradicts the Bhutarthavada definition. How do you say Vedanta knowledge is useful by itself? Because Jnana Phalam is there. Right? And when you have Jnana Phalam, you cannot say that by itself that knowledge is no use to me. You don't have to connect it to any other Vidhi Vakyam. And therefore, Vedanta is independent and not Vidisheshaha. It is not connected to a Vidhi Vakyam. Therefore, you will find that wherever there is a Bhutarthavada in the Veda, in the proximity of that Bhutarthavada, you will find a statement of instruction of karma also. Right? Bhutarthavada be proximate to Vidhi Vakyam. Because you have to connect the Bhutarthavada to the Vidhi Vakyam. Then only it makes sense. But in Vedanta, you will find that Vidhi Vakyams are there, not there at all. Where is the question of connecting? Vedanta does not say Tattvamasi and ask you to do some ritual. It doesn't ask you to meditate. It does not say Aham Brahmasmi and say do Dhyanam. The Dhyanam is not stipulated. You won't find the Vakyam close by. Therefore, he says Vedanta Vakyam is not Bhutarthavada, but is Swatantra Pramanam, independent Pramanam, not connected to Vidhi because it has its own utility. And what is that? Moksha. So we have seen two topics today in this Shankara discussion. We'll stop here. Any questions? I will again urge you to go back, make notes, revise the notes. And if somebody could, on a weekly basis, summarize the whole thing and put it in, it would be a great exercise for everybody because they're all very, summarize only those critical portions, no need to summarize the Upasana parts and all that. So with this we'll stop. Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
difficult. A person who believes in Veda does not believe in Ishvara, because Veda itself talks about Ishvara. It rather deepens your practice and deepens your belief in Ishvara.
So that, okay, but that's a particular interpretation. The Ishvara is not required. I don't understand the question. You are saying that how can you not believe in Ishvara? Because you say it's not required. Arthavala statement. When you say that karma, the statements themselves give the results, then why would you say there is Ishvara at all? That is the whole argument of the Purvamimamsika.
Okay.
Oh, Punamidam Punas
पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Om Tat Sat.
ॐ तत्सत्
Thank you for your
Thank you, Vajrashri.
patience.